Just thoughts on the game and I guess your emotion.
Well, starting first with emotion, of course, very disappointed in the result. Of course, we were depending of the result, of course, for tomorrow night. But still, you want to, if you're gonna leave, you want to leave with 3 points and with a positive vibe, you know, towards Atlanta. Now, of course, everybody is disappointing in the result, and that's normal. If you lose 3 times with 1-0, so yeah, very disappointing for everybody who loves Atlanta United. The second thing about the game, I think if we look to the first half, we had really problems, yeah, to press them. They did it tactically quite good the first half, and we were not capable as a team to make a solution in the game itself, and so I have to change that in the second half, and I think, you know, you saw a totally different Atlanta United in the second half, and I think if you see the second half, we deserved it at least a draw, and so that's very disappointed. You know, if you just get 1 point, you know, then you see, okay, you can be, you know, a little bit more satisfied, of course, and also how you turned the game around. If you see this first half was very disappointing for our side. Of course, great things, great compliments for Columbus, because it's a very good team, and we were every time chasing them, and we couldn't get really pressing on them, and that's why we changed 2 guys to really, you know, get into the pressure, and I think that it resulted directly in 2 chances of George Bello. Then the middle period, you know, it was, yeah, some chances for us, some chances for them, but it was more equal. And then I think the last 10-15 minutes was for us again, and we had some good chances. Anton 2 times, I think 2 times a fantastic save of the goalkeeper, and so I'm, yeah, very disappointed in the result, but I'm very pleased how they played the second half, and how they straightened their back, you know, and this is where we stand for, and this is what I want to see from Atlanta United. And yeah, unfortunately we couldn't make I think the deserved goal.
Our next question will be Felipe. As a reminder, you need to hit the raise hand button if you wish to ask a question. Felipe, you should be good to go ahead and ask a question now.
Okay. Good evening, Frank.
Hi, Felipe.
Hello. To your point, you mentioned that, you know, it was a much better second half from Atlanta United. What was the decision to not perhaps begin the first half like that? Why didn't you not set the team up to attack the way they did in the second half?
Well, we wanted to press them from the start, but normal Aful, you know, is a guy who really pushes up, and we had really problem to get really pressure on him. Santos was really playing like a second striker. They had like 4 guys up front, and we couldn't manage to really press them. You know, Aful was every time free, and then or Barco has to step out, or Emerson was stepping out, and then every time another midfielder was free. So maybe that was a wrong choice from us, but we analyzed them, and it's the first time that they really did it like this. So you never can expect, you know, what they're gonna do, before, you know, for the game, and during the game you have to see what they are really doing, and we are not capable right now to change it ourselves in the team. I already said it, you know, after 25 minutes that 30 minutes that Fernando Meza has to play on the like a central midfielder, the defensive midfielder, and Barco like a left winger, and but still it was not, you know, what we wanted to see. So that's why I changed 2 guys at half time, and you know, I think then every time we had the pressure on, and they couldn't build up anymore, and it was winning second balls, and yeah, we did that, I think, very well, and that's why we created I think enough chances in the second half.
Okay, we'll go to Now, Doug, you should go ahead to talk.
Frank, just going back to the thing about you're not capable right now to change it with the team and the game. I mean, I can remember you saying that y'all worked on situations and things during the team training back in Atlanta. I know the players talked about y'all working on situations. You've got 2 DPs out there, a lot of players that the team has wanted. What is the issue with getting them to be able to change the tactics within the game itself, and how do you get this fixed for whenever you play?
We still think that's difficult, I think, and we have, like maybe when Jeff was maybe in the team, he's a guy who can, really put the guys on the spot. But right now we're not able to do that, and so I was shouting, of course, from the side. But it's still difficult, when we had the water break, I could say that, and then it was already a little bit better. But in the second half, of course, in the locker room, I really could put on the board what I expect from the guys, and there was almost no problems anymore. And but again, I have compliments to Columbus, how they approach us, the first half, and we have to have an answer if it happens the next time. Of course, you're gonna pay for it now, but it's a lesson for me, but also a lesson for our players.
We'll go back to Joe. Joe, go ahead. Your line should be open.
Frank, I'm just curious if you kind of know what is in store for this team after this game. Obviously, do you just go back to Atlanta and start training again? Have you kind of planned that out yet? Because I'm not sure if there's a game scheduled.
Well, first the guys will have a couple of days off. That's normal, we are a long time in the bubble, so. And then we start ramping up and be ready, what's gonna happen. We don't know the plan of the MLS right now, so we have to wait. But we can still, practice a lot what we want, playing different systems and what we expect from them. So we have enough time. I think we need also the time, to really, train what we want to see and get confidence when it starts up again.
We'll go back to Doug. Doug, your line's open.
Hey, Frank, I hate to have to ask you this, but I have to ask you this. There are a lot of disgruntled Atlanta United supporters because of the scoreless streak, almost 400 minutes, the results in this tournament, that are calling for you to either resign or be fired. And I'm curious if you have a response for that.
Well, everybody is disappointed. I'm the first one who's really disappointed, and I only can say, I will give always my best, and I'm gonna continue that until the end. And I know that I can change, this vibe that we have right now, and to a winning vibe. We showed that last season when we started quite rusty. And I'm convinced with the players that we have that we really can change. And again, if we see the second half, that is what I want to see from our team, and we're going to continue in that.
We're going to go to Felipe, and maybe just time for one or two more. Brad Guzan and Brooks Lennon will be joining us shortly. But Felipe, go ahead. Your line's open.
Thank you, Chris. A simple question, Frank. Do you believe that this team has improved over last season?
Improved? Well, I think we started quite well, of course, the first 2 games. And now we are, of course, disappointed. Everybody was very happy with the 2 results, 6 points in 2 games. Of course, very disappointed with the injury of one of our best players, the last couple of seasons, Joseph Martinez. He has a major impact, of course, in the team when you score like average 30 goals a season. So that was, of course, very disappointed. But I think we have to improve. That's clear, and we're gonna do that. We have to do that together. And so when we go back to Marietta in Atlanta, we're gonna try to get everybody back on the feet again, and try to get confidence and see the quality that we have, because we have a lot of quality in the team.
All right, thanks Frank, and we're going to switch here to Brad and Brooks. Okay, Brad and Brooks here with us. Doug, Roberson, Doug, first question. Go ahead. Line's open.
For both players, please. How do y'all get this turned around before whenever your next game may be?
Brad, why don't you take it first?
There's no magic answer. We got to get back on the training pitch. We gotta work harder. At the same time, we gotta have some real conversations, some real conversations, because this isn't something that just happened. 3 games, 6 halves of football, and we showed up for the last half. The second half was better today, but not nearly good enough for what Atlanta United stands for and the club that we've all known this club to be. So we got to get back to work, because it's not even close to being good enough.
Brooks?
Yeah, and I would just piggyback on what Brad said. I think we just need to go back to the drawing board, get back to Atlanta, and get back on the training pitch, work on the things that didn't go well. But yeah, some real conversations need to be made, and we need so much better, because Atlanta United's standard, like Brad said, is so high, and we need to keep it there. Not only for our fans and for our club, but for ourselves. It's just not good enough what we've produced in these 3 games.
Next question over to Felipe. Felipe, your line is open.
Thank you, Chris. Question for Brad. That work that you mentioned, like getting back to work, what does that entail? Because some of the problems that you yourself have highlighted, like spacing issues and just being more consistent defensively, maintaining an identity, what this club is about, those problems have persisted in 3 matches. So what does that work consist of that you're referring to?
Yeah, I mean, you talk about identity in these 3 games, and you can even go back to the Club America game. That's not who we are as a club. That's not what we're about as a team. So there's got to be change. There's got to be there's got to be some sort of change on the field. There's got to be communication. There's got to be conversations, but then there has to be a response to that. It can't just be talk, and then get back on the field and do the same thing that we've been doing. Because it's, like I said, this didn't just happen in 1 game. This has happened now 4 games, and it's not good enough. It's not good enough as individuals. It's not good enough as a group, and so, there needs to be change. There needs to be the conversations that take place. Then there has to be a different product that in turn that is shown on the field.
Next question, Joe Patrick. Joe, go ahead.
I'll ask this one for Brooks. I'm just kind of curious, you played I think every minute of this tournament. How physically taxing was this for you, playing these matches kind of in rapid succession after a long layoff, and obviously in these kind of strange conditions, both in the living environment and the playing environment?
Yeah, I kind of you cut out in the last part of that question, but physically, it was tough. It's hot and humid out here in Orlando, but we can't use that as an excuse. It was definitely rough in the 3 games, but I dealt with it fine. I had no issues physically with any muscles or anything like that. So I came in fully prepared and fully fit for this tournament, and unfortunately we're going home.
Gonna go back to Felipe. Felipe, go ahead.
Brad, again, I mean, as captain, what can you describe, again, this is an obvious question, I know you guys are disappointed, but just what is the feeling in the locker room? A lot of quality players, a lot of veteran players, a lot of experience. What is it like in there right now?
Yeah, it's disappointment, it's frustration. After the first game, we talked about what playing for this club means, and what when you step on the field with an Atlanta United crest on your shirt, you're not just representing the club, you're representing the city of Atlanta, and you're representing all of our fans. we've set the bar so high over the last couple of years. And so now to go through what we're going through, you can talk about experienced players, but there's also inexperienced players on the field. And it's the role of experienced players to help those guys along. It's the role of those younger players to pick up information quickly, learn on the job, so to speak. And we have to get better. There's a huge level of frustration, disappointment, anger, because this isn't what Atlanta United is about. This isn't who we are as a club, and yeah. So it's not a good feeling in the locker room at the minute.
Go back to Doug. Doug, go ahead.
I had to ask Frank this question, and I'll ask y'all this question. Because of the streak and the performances, there are people that are calling for Frank to resign or to be terminated. Is that a potential distraction for y'all as you're trying to work through these issues and get the product better on the field?
Say that part again, Doug. You cut out towards the middle, towards the end of it.
That there are supporters calling for Frank to be fired or to resign? Is that a distraction for y'all as you're trying to fix this on the training pitch and raise the standard back to what you're used to?
Regardless of coach, manager, players, in this business, players come and go, managers come and go. It's the job of us as players that are here, that are part of this club, to go out and perform to a certain level. That question isn't for us as players. That's obviously that's not for us. That's for other people. Our job is to take that information on board and try and go and execute what's being relayed to us as players. So yeah, I don't think that question is particularly for us as players. We've got to go and take the information that we're getting and try and go and get wins. I don't know if you got something different, but
yeah, I mean, I agree 100% with what Brad said. We have to hold ourselves accountable. We can't blame other people. We got to hold ourselves as players accountable for what we put out on the pitch, and obviously in these 3 games it wasn't good enough. So like I said, we need to go back to the drawing board, and those decisions aren't decisions for us players, like Brad said. So we just need to keep moving forward.
Last question, Felipe. Felipe, go ahead.
Okay, for Brad again, something that Frank said that is true. I mean, it was a better second half. I mean, you guys were on the front foot, really put Columbus, pinned them back. But my question, and I asked Frank the same thing, like why doesn't this team start like that in the first half? Is it a tactical decision? Is it the flow of the game? This is a very quality side in Columbus as well, but it seems to be a little bit of a trend as well. You guys finish strong, start a little bit slow.
Yeah, but listen, they're top of the table. They're winning the game 1-0. They got nothing to lose, or we've got nothing to lose. So we're throwing everything forward. And of course, they weren't great in the second half. Our previous 5 halves of football were not good enough whatsoever that now you play 45 minutes of decent attacking football. That doesn't make it all of a sudden great. That just raises it from where it was, because the bar was low. So it was better. But again, that's nowhere near where we want to be as a team. It's nowhere near where we want to be as a club. So we can talk about it being a better second half, but we had 2 or 3 decent chances, I would say. Goalkeeper made 1 or 2 good saves. But other than that, we didn't cause them loads of problems, and we didn't get behind them. So it wasn't like we were unbelievable in the Atlanta United of old. So, just my 2 thoughts.
All right, thanks everyone. Thanks Brad. Thanks Brooks.
Thanks, guys.
See you guys later.